Yeah, we have heard about 300,000 people watching online auction. I think that will open, I again think I'm thinking in terms of creative technologies. 5, 6 years ago, I was wondering if it will be possible to view the auctions so that millions of people watch and then maybe play betting on that, like art bet, the concept of art bet. This was one thing, and I'm thinking, and at any moment something like that may arise. The second thing which in the future I expect to happen is the screening screening art, sharing art for at home with different devices, projecting art for a few pounds per hour, maybe, having a Picasso on your wall for I don't know, for $1,000 for a dinner in your living room. So I'm really amazed with technology, and I always I keep dreaming of what the future will bring us. And again, with democratization, what do you think about all these things?
Yes, I think there's lots of things that sound good in theory and just don't translate in practice. And you see this a lot with like AR and VR. They're kind of cool, but really they don't add too much value. I think there's also like this fundamental kind of need for like ownership. When you purchase an artwork, it's yours. And we are moving into a sharing economy where you share cars, you have timeshares on apartments, and everything is kind of being shared more and more. But I feel like that's not going to work with art. And there have been, and there still are lots of businesses that work on like a split investment basis. You can acquire a percentage of an artwork or own shares of an artwork, but for me, it takes away a lot of the magic. We're still talking about like alchemy, and that the art world doesn't conform to logic or reason lots of the time. As much as we all try to kind of impose kind of logical structure onto it, we're still talking about something that speaks to people's hearts and imaginations, and sometimes not their minds. And so I think whilst, like a split investment idea, or, owning shares in an artwork and having a timeshare, it sounds good, and I was certainly excited when I first heard about that idea. But then the more you understand the psychology of a collector and the psychology of building a collection, you start to realize that actually it's not, people don't buy it just for the investment. People don't buy it just to have a replica on their wall for an amount of time. They buy it because they are then inherently linked to that painting and that object that they own and that they can live with every day. And good collectors, they love like the smell of the paint and the oils and the tarps, and it's an object for them that they own, and it's like an extension of their identity and their personality. So I think when you kind of try and replace it with a digital image that's like revolving on a high resolution screen above your fireplace, it doesn't have this, there's not that same sense of connection. And don't get me wrong, for some people that might really work. Like
exactly.
It might work for some, but
what I think is that there will be dual collectors market. Maybe some collectors will stick to that, but some of them will just be happy with the like in pre-Renaissance period, they were happy with the copies. They will be happy maybe with just the screen shares, and for sure the collecting behavior won't change. But I believe it's not a bad thing. Myself, I'm a small, tiny collector, and I would be very happy if many people see what I have, share what I have, and this creates a different secondary market, viewing market of the artwork, and it it will it will make the artwork sounds much more powerful in terms of uh, conversational currency. More and more people will talk about your artist,
Yeah.
and you will keep owning the artwork, but there will be maybe 50,000 people will be liking the same work in their homes. So again, the higher the share of ideas, and the more and more people talk about art per se is more important. It will be precious. It's like everybody likes to talk about football, and that's why it's an understandable topic. And similarly, it will be nice to make many people talk about art. Still few people own the original art. That's all we need, I guess, to make the demand much larger. And the today's problem is how to make a collector space a little bit larger, so that at all levels we have more collectors all around the world. So maybe these technologies may help solving that.
I think so. Yeah, I think I love that viewpoint. I think it's just finding a way of making it sustainable. I mean, obviously you have museums and exhibitions, which lots of galleries are having to innovate now and go online, especially with lockdown and people not being able to travel. So yeah, I think it's just a way of finding the right type of technology to be able to, ultimately what we're talking about is getting work in front of as many people as possible. And the online space is the way to do that, because that's where the biggest audience is. And, we've been talking about even looking at things like platforms like Twitch and gaming, where you have like millions of very, very young people engaged in games. If you can implement or somehow integrate art or creatives into that process, then you can start to educate younger children at a point in time where they are open to new ideas at a younger age, and get more people into. For me, like the goal is to get more people thinking creatively and being creative, because that will just make a better world for us in the future. And I think,
Exactly.
and like you say, the more exposure people have to creative ideas and important works, the better, for sure. I actually have a quick meeting that I have to go to. I don't know if.
So should we have a quick? Could we have a quick view of the works in the gallery, or do we have?
I don't know if there's. Would it be possible to give me like 10 minutes and I can come back to you?
Okay.
Is that okay? Maybe you can talk amongst yourselves or something, or
Okay. So you disappear. I discuss with my students, and then
and then we can do a Q&A or something.
Yeah, if you have time, because I think there are lots of questions to you coming up. Go to your meeting, and I continue with my students.
Okay, cool. I'll be back very shortly, guys.
Okay. So I stopped the recording. If you want, we can discuss among each other, and I can continue to what I was saying. So so this gallery, if you can follow from your Instagram, it's a very creative gallery. So no recording. I stopped recording. I stopped recording. So he will answer your questions as well after the break. But as you see, we asked good questions about pricing, and I want you to ask more questions to him. But also, if you want, while waiting for him, I want to talk about this skull collection. Why the skull collection was so important. The sale of this skull collection was so important. It was part of your readings, actually. So let me go back to my slides, and and open this art pricing part and discussing the skull collection. Okay, so I opened my my presentation and now even coming to that in yeah yeah I see now that recording continues. Okay, at any rate, so what we said is that there are more or less three type of galleries. One type of galleries, superstar galleries, they start high and then prices go up very fast. Then on the other side there is this prudent galleries. They increase the prices of their artists in a very prudent manner. Unit London is an example of prudent gallery. It start the prices start as low as possible. They compare the prices of the artworks with other artists artworks, and they try to imitate other galleries to make a price guess. But again, it's not a wild guess as some galleries may perform. It's an it's an arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. It is. They follow a pricing strategy after having some research undertaken. So it is not easy to set the prices if you don't have any basis, any prices that you can extrapolate. Okay, it's a completely new artist show, and you don't know anything about the reputation of the artist because artist is young. So pricing is a path dependent process, as he explained in 2013. The price was £1,000, and then gradually the artist in 7 years, after so many shows, now the price of the art piece that he showed us, now it's about £100,000. So again, in contemporary art, there are new artists. There is then you set at the price is very low and you compare the works with similar artists. If your artist has some price history, then you adopt and extrapolate. Okay, so you look at the size of the artwork in the medium, but basically you use the reputation, and there could be some price increases, of course, if a museum purchases the artwork, a very important collection purchases the artwork, and price decreases. We may ask him, and I'm sure he will say that he will avoid at all costs the price price decreases. So of course there are some flexibilities. It depends on the capacity of the market, what the market is ready to pay for the artworks. Now again, there are three types of narratives. There are superstar prices, there are prudent prices, and there are honorable prices. That means it's a post-war gallery circuit. It's really very humble, very low prices for the period, for the post-war gallery period. It's a very intimate market. Whereas now in current contemporary gallery pricing behavior, we observe either prudent prices or superstar prices. Okay, so prudent prices, as Joe mentioned us, prices which increases very slowly, very conservative price increases in the market. And honorable prices are prices based really on modesty, on the need of the artist. It 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 doesn't respond to market fluctuations of the demand. And superstar prices, very high prices, they increase very frequently and sharply, and they extract all the consumer surplus of the market by, you know, by paying higher and higher prices. And of course, it's very risky because prices may fall. So coming back to the Robert and et al. Skull collection. This is a very interesting collection in the sense that the collection, the collection here represents the first contemporary art sale in the market. So it happened in 1973. So this couple, let me tell you a few things about them. Et al. And Robert Skull. Robert Skull was a taxi tycoon of New York City. He had a taxi company, and he started to purchase art starting late 50s, and then when arrived at 1973, he wanted to test the market, and he went to Sotheby's, at that time called Sotheby's Parquet Burnett, and decided to organize an auction for his collection. And the whole sale went crazy. People went crazy about the sale, and the sale generated $2.2 million. In 1973, this was an important money, and these 50 works were sold. The sale is important. The sale is as important as Osman Hamdi's sale at Antique AŞ in 2004. Okay, this is where the contemporary art market story starts in Turkish market. It is very important. Why Osman Hamdi's sale is important? You have to understand that it starts with this winner's curse, and it coincides with many opening of private museums of the period. This sale is important for contemporary market because, first of all, it assures New York City as the heart of the contemporary art world, and the second one is it generates incredible returns for the contemporary artworks. For example, Robert Skull purchased this painting that I will show you for $2,500 in 1959 and sold it for $90,000 about 14 years later. It's a huge increase. It's a huge increase of money. So this is the artwork. The name is Double Feature of Rauschenberg. It's a pop art artist, American artist. So that was the market justifies the value of these artists, and then many pop-up artists' prices started to rise with this auction onwards. Okay, so this is you see Andy Warhol on top. Again, with Skull couple, et al. And Robert Skull. It was a very popular, and for the first time, this auction generated, lots of attention from the media. Lots of stars, Hollywood stars, musicians, pop stars, film stars watched the auction in the Sotheby's building. And that was a big event. And then if we sum up what we see that the Skull sale creates a shift from honorable art lovers towards a more commercially obsessed art market participants. We see the birth of art as an investment investment asset. We see that, remember, honorable practice was hostile worldview. That means honorable practice was against the commercialization of art. But with the skull sale, we see that the dominant characters of the art world change their characters. The true art lovers, they become, aggressive speculators. Okay, and artists, they become to be more concerned about their celebrity status, about not about the quality of the work they make, but they wanted to become more, famous very quickly. And then dealers, instead of being tastemakers, they wanted to generate quick profits around hype, creating and hype around the artists they represent. So it really, skull auction, it's the, if you want, the beginning of the financialization or commodification of the art market. If you want, you see the, or art objects, and you see that art become, now everyone accepts that art is an investment object. Looking at Robert Scull, he invested only $2,500 to purchase this Rauschenberg, and only in 14 years he was able to sell it for $90,000. And there were lots of rumors that Rauschenberg was upset and wanted to, squeeze Robert Scull at the door of Sotheby's auction. But this is not true, because all the artist prices increase afterwards, and this is just a rumor that he was mad. He was not mad, and Rauschenberg's prices increased from that point onward. Another artist was very popular, was Jasper Johns, another pop artist. And this work also, you have to know, it is important, because in 1980, this work of Jasper Johns, Three Flags, and which is also very, I wanted to share it on my Instagram today. Maybe I will do tomorrow after the election. It fits very well. So this work was purchased by Whitney Museum of Art in New York City for $1 million from Burton and Emily Tremaine couple. And that was the price, the highest price which was paid in 1980. So that means the contemporary art prices started to rise at that time onwards. Okay, so why these prices rising? Why such high prices? Few artists receive these prices. It is not a surprise. Look at the famous football players. Okay, they receive a lot of money, and few football players receive a lot of money. So this is the theory of winner take all theory of Rosen of 1981. And so this neoclassical economics approach, it says that there are some markets where if you win, you take all. So art market is such a market, because the reason is there are fewer talented artists, and there are many, let's say, very, normal artists. Let's say the difference in talent is very small, but small differences create huge differences. You may think of it, for example, marathon or 100 meters. You run 100 meters, and the winner, what is the difference between the winner and the 15th in the race? The difference is 1 second, something like that. So these tiny differences make a huge difference of outcome.
It's called the Matthew principle also, isn't it, Aylin? I'm back.
Are you? Yeah, are you back?
I was just enjoying your lecture there.
I'm happy because
it actually exists across, it's not just specific to the art industry, it exists across nature and like all sorts of different markets. And it's the reason, like, there's a small handful of authors who sell 90% of the books. There's a like a small group of musicians who sell 90% of the records. There's you know, if you look at like the populations of cities, there's a few cities in the world who account for like huge amounts of the population. It's like it's called the Matthew principle.
Exactly.
Gravitate towards a few. It's the way
Yeah,
that
yeah.
societies.